Welcome to Picks with the Professor, the show where a real statistics professor gives you sports betting tips. This is College Basketball Tuesday, February 27th. Jake, um, as a reminder to everyone, um, we can't predict the future. We don't know what's going to happen in an individual game. The picks that we have shown consistently to long-term make money. But in any one given night, even a team like Mississippi Valley State might win a basketball game, which is just a reminder that sports are wild and unpredictable. And you never know what's going to happen in one game. And that's why, if you're taking a small sample size approach to sports betting, you're probably chasing your tail a lot because Mississippi Valley State right now it has the lead with 3 minutes to go in a basketball game. I did not think the thing I would say this year. There's been all sorts of crazy things all season in college basketball. So the process is about the larger sample size of picks. And I think we're constantly reminded that every night in college basketball, every day in college basketball, none more so than a scoreboard watching a Mississippi Valley State game. Jake, do you have anything to add to that?
I mean, why is this game not on TV?
I can tell you why. It's terrible basketball.
I mean, but chasing a 0-win season should be televised everywhere.
And this is their last chance. I mean, their last 3 games are on the road. And I assume in the conference tournament, if all the teams make it, they'll play someone with a pulse early on, and they won't win that one either. I mean, this is realistically their last hope to avoid the winless season. So we're pulling for them. By the end of the show, we'll know if they've won or not. But anyway, we've got a good Tuesday slate again. Jake, as always, it seems like, especially come New Year, the Tuesday slate is always short, intriguing, good basketball, tight lines. Usually these games are well-researched. It's bigger teams. It's tougher to find edges. So we kind of have to go a little bit hunting for some edges. And I think tonight's no different. As of right now, no model A grades. As of this moment, we'll see if there are some more here come in the morning. But, we're trying to hunt and see where we think there's some value. And that's going to start us off with Wisconsin, Indiana. We're going to be in the over. 141, model says 146.5. It's B grade value. This Wisconsin team is one that we, for the most part, like the overs on. They do play slow, but the market's been really slow to adjust to the fact that their offense is very good. Indiana is going to have a hard time stopping them on defense, but Wisconsin's defense not very good. Should give up some points to Indiana, who wants to push the pace a little bit. These two teams already played earlier this year in a game that got to 160, 170, got a ton of points. In a very high-scoring game. Not sure it's quite that high-scoring, but we think over is the smart look in this one. Jake, tell us more.
Yeah, just the extreme lack of defense that's being played by both these teams right now. Like in Indiana, all 4 of their last games have all been losses, and they've given up 75-plus points in each of them. And, I mean, that includes 83 to Penn State, who's not the most offensively talented team out there. So, I mean, Wisconsin should be able to, with the talent they have, should be able to put up whatever number they want to, almost like they did the first game. But Wisconsin's defense has been just as bad in conference. It's very weird how much their defense fell off inside the Big Ten. Like in 4 of their last 5, they've given up 75-plus. So this game screams somewhere near the 150s to me, if not like 155, something like that. I don't quite get why we're getting such a low number, but I'm excited for it, so I'm going to jump all over it.
There we go. Jake, I feel like this might be the shortest show in our history here. It's just going to be short and sweet. But as a reminder here, these are all the benefits you can get if you join us on Dub Club. Sneak peek here at what we offer over there. Remember, I've put a lot of work in, continue to do a lot of work on these things. And so that's why we ask that you join, pay a small subscription fee to hopefully get the benefit of the work. If you don't find benefit to it, no hard feelings, but we think you can get a lot of information by joining us on Dub Club, including all of the plays of the day, which had a great week last week. A couple of benefits there. QR code, if you're with us on YouTube, still in the bottom corner there, so you can sign up and get your first month for $5 off for only $29.99 with that promo code. We have varying subscription links. If you want to save a little bit of money, sign up for longer, you can. 5 sports as of right now, projections, picks, information, all sorts of stuff. Lots of reasons to check us out over on Dub Club. Again, that sign-up link Get your first month at a discount is in the show description. That'll take us to George Mason and Fordham. Jake, you know, this feels like a classic game that we've talked a lot about this season. I think the last 2 or 3 times we've had this setup, it has blown up in our faces. But as a reminder from what we talked about at the start of the show, we take a long-term approach, and this is the type of game that's done well for us on the whole totality of the season and on some of the games that we've picked off of the show that have been plays of the day for us. But it's just the fact that George Mason, according to Sideline, is the much better team. Getting them at minus 110 is basically a wrong team favored game. There's technically no team favored if you're getting them at minus 110. But either way, the books are projecting this as a coin toss and saying George Mason is a little bit better. Sideline says that George Mason is a lot better. And so anything around even money makes this a pretty dang good pick when the model says that George Mason wins this 2 out of 3. As a reminder, we never know if we're going to be in that 1 out of 3. But in general, the best unit on the court would be George Mason's offense, and the second best unit would be George Mason's defense. Fordham's offense really lagging behind, in theory, will cost them this game. Jake, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, look, in conference, Fordham's offense has stayed the same, but their defense has gotten so much worse. They're giving up over 40% from beyond the arc, and the way they get points is they have a very aggressive defense, force turnovers, and kind of get buckets that way. That leads to a lot of extra fouls. And George Mason is a very good free throw shooting team, shooting above 75%. They are very solid there. They're really good on the glass. I don't think Fordham is going to be quite ready for them on the glass. This George Mason team has still got a decent amount of talent they had from a very good team last year. Fordham, I'm not sure what happened here. They seem to have fell off the earth from last year, but I just don't think they've got it in them. I think the defense is going to be absolutely massive here. And, I mean, George Mason's offense has struggled a little bit in conference as the three-point shot has kind of left them, but not really a better team to get that back against than Fordham. So surely if they can get that going, George Mason runs away with this.
Yeah, and as a reminder, of course, we always want to shop around and get the best price possible. This is moneyline price here at minus 110, but looking around at different books, there's some that are going to be closer to even money, some that are going to be up to minus 120, and that's just as of right now. Who knows where it is later? And with all the movements and all the different prices, again, especially with the money lines, we want to make sure we have multiple books at our disposal. That way we win more when we win, lose less when we lose. We know we're going to lose some, and so saving on that juice does add value to us and can help us continue to grow our bankroll rather than decrease it. And so one of the sports books we always recommend people to check out, if you have not yet, is BetUS. You can get 125% first deposit bonus, some free bets with the promotion they've got going on right now. Link in the description. Check them out if you have not already.
BetUS, America's favorite sports book, where you can bet on everything, anytime. Sportsbook, live betting, and casino. To celebrate 30 years in business, we have the best bonuses in the industry. Get a 125% sign-up bonus and up to 30 risk-free bets. So what are you waiting for? Join now. BetUS, where the game begins.
That'll wrap us up with Kentucky, Mississippi State, all these games at 7 p.m. Eastern. What I think will be the best game of the night, Sideline has it as the second best game of the night with BYU Kansas slightly ahead of it, but I think this one's going to be probably more interesting. The model seems to still have a little bit of an infatuation with BYU, and I'm not quite sure that's deserved with how they've looked as of late. And at Kansas, that might be a tough spot for them. But this one ranking second in quality of the game according to my model, but like I said, I think it's going to be a fascinating contest. It's strength on strength and weakness on weakness. Kentucky's offense great, Mississippi State's defense great, Kentucky's defense not great, Mississippi State's offense not great. Kentucky sometimes plays defense and then other times they don't. I don't know what happened last week where they played a whole game basically in like the 120s, and then they played a game in like the 220s. Like it was something kind of like that. Like it's so crazy where they are. They've been a really good over team for us. We're going to go back to the with the over 156 and a half. This is 156.6, 156.5, of course, will be the number there. B plus grade values. The model says low 160s. Jake, you never know with Kentucky, because if they actually show up and give some defensive intensity, this game's probably going to land at about 130. But as you saw this weekend, they can get it up. Mississippi State can too. Mississippi State's played several many high-scoring games. Their pace isn't that slow. Now, if you want to slow Mississippi State down, they are more than happy to play a game that's 60-55. But they can play some higher scoring games too. So on average, we think this number's a little bit low. Long-term value on it. No idea what will happen in one game. And this game might be the highest variance total of the night. But that doesn't mean that more times than not, we still think we go over this number. Jake, tell us more.
Yeah, look, we all know the pace of the Kentucky, the guards. I mean, when they get the big guys going like Big Z and Thiero, that offense is ungodly good. So we know what we're going to get on Kentucky, and the defense doesn't tend to travel with them. But Mississippi State's offense is where I think is what the difference is and why we like this over more than we should, or not than we should, but more than what the books are valuing it at, because they've put up some numbers here. Like you've got 75 against Georgia, who's a slowerish team, 75 in a 20-plus game against Missouri, where the blowout kind of kept it low. Then you put up 83 against Ole Miss, who's a slower team, and then LSU, they put up 87 in a 20-point game, and that was at LSU. I think the offense with Tolu Smith and Hubbard stepping up is a big difference. They're shooting the three. They're not shooting the three ball well, and they're shooting a ton of them, so that's not great. But I think the pace of Kentucky is going to give extra shots, and the lack of defense should be a lot of open threes, especially with how Cal typically guards big guys as they kind of collapse in on them. So if Tolu Smith's got his head on, he'll be able to kick it out, and there should be some open threes, which will help as they step into it. I think we're just going to get all the points there. I think Kentucky's pace and guards are going to be the drive this game, just like you saw with that Alabama game. And, I mean, they still gave up 90-plus to Alabama, and which is outrageous with how much Alabama's offense disappeared at the end of the first half. Mm-hmm. So Kentucky's defense they quickly give up on it, even as soon as they get any sort of a lead. So I think we're never out of it with this over.
Yeah, and Mississippi State, I feel like it's just a fascinating team because they have the same kind of strengths as they've had in previous years, but I feel like, and I could be completely off on this, but it feels like they've been a team in the past that you've just loved the unders in because they've wanted to play a game in the 110s and that sort of thing and slow it down and good defense or whatever. But they've, like you said, they've been able to score some points because that pace, if you go faster with them, they have no problem doing that. And that's been so interesting. Like they seem like a little bit of a chameleon type team. And of course, they do have that great defense. And so that's not to disrespect them. And of course, if this number goes under, we have to assume it's going to be, Kentucky showed up on defense. Teams didn't shoot well, and Mississippi State's defense always plays well. But in general, as we talk about again, I don't mean to caveat things too much. But again, we just want to remind people if you're new here, there are no such thing as locks in betting. We're not giving out anything as locks. Never have, never will. Because that's not realistic. What we're trying to do is, shoot you straight. And the idea is that in general, this game is just more likely to land in the 160s than in the 150s. And if it does land in the 150s, we still win almost half of them. Winning 157, 158, 159. I guess it's only three of them, but whatever. We'll take those three wins there because Kentucky has the ability to get this game so high scoring in the first half that we can coast to the win, or like you said, never out of it. Even if it's a slower first half, we still got a chance in the second half because they've had games where they've put up plus allowed. There've been 100 total points in the second half of their games. So a lot of ways we can get to the window on this one, which makes us like that as our final free pick of the night. And remember, again, you can get more picks over on Dub Club Plays of the Day. Insights, analysis, ratings, rankings, all sorts of goodies over there on college basketball, hockey, and coming soon baseball. Jake, parting words for the viewer and what might be one of our quickest shows ever.
It really is, Lord. We flew through this. Man, I'm ready for baseball. Make so much money with your baseball model. I don't want basketball to end. I just want basketball to continue to happen. I just want baseball to be able to use the model and just make so much money that way.
Yep, we have good times with baseball. Looking forward to it. Coming soon. Spring training getting going, so it'll be here before you know it. Otherwise, again, if you're new, check out the outro video where we just have a couple reminders about some key principles and things we believe in around here. Otherwise, everyone will see you tomorrow.